The following video is targeted towards a general audience, an audience consisting of people of any age. Both kids and adults can enjoy the video. Doopy doop. Oh no, not you! How did you come back from getting turned into a soup can? We see the rabbit sheriff get onto his horse's back facing forward, but then the horse is going backward. The color of Tails' shoes are mixed up. The footage is tilting. If you play the footage this slowly, you'll see the doors just go from closed to open.
Hey, thought I told you this here town was mine!
Sonic wasn't even in the town when you scared the sheriff away.
Draw! Way to go, Sonic! You blew him away!
Actually, it was Six Gun Pete that blew himself away, even if Sonic was responsible for it. Aren't you the wild squirrel from 7 episodes ago? Sonic doesn't have a belt and guns in this scene, but he does in this scene. Where did they come from? How can Robotnik's model a Tranquil Gulch change just from the push of a button? So we find out that Six Gun Pete is one of Robotnik's robot henchmen, which is not surprising, but doesn't Six Gun Pete say,
"This here town was mine"?
Does that mean he was going to betray Robotnik and take the town for himself? If not, he should have said, and by me I mean Robotnik's.
What's the matter? Can't you talk?
Can a robot without a head talk?
In that case, draw! Ah!
One sin removed for making me laugh. Six Gun Pete draws with a pencil a picture of Sonic as the sheriff, but Six Gun Pete left the town before that happened. So how does he know Sonic became the sheriff if he wasn't there?
Scratch! Grounder! Go to Tranquil Gulch and see that hedgehog gets a one-way ticket to Boot Hill!
Where did Scratch and Grounder get their cowboy clothes from? What happened to the table?
Attention! Present arms! Commence firing!
If Scratch and Grounder were smart enough to duck their heads into their bodies, did Six Gun Pete do the same, or was he too dumb to? The color of Sonic's shoes are mixed up, and he has no tail. Another 2 points for repeating the last two. And another 2 for the quills on the back of his head missing in both this scene and the last scene. Another for the shoes. Is Sonic going to have to pay for the water tower? The thing with Sonic's shoes, tail, and back head continues throughout this episode, so I think I'll just give a point for each time now instead of pointing them out individually. The saloon doors were brown before, but now they are gray. Also, did the saloon sign get wider? And is Sonic going to have to pay for the sign? For what reason does the barn have signs on it to indicate the side? Do they expect there to be people who don't know the difference between front, back, and broad? Also, what the heck is this supposed to be? Is that supposed to be hay? It can't be. Hay is yellow, not gray. That green storm drain wasn't there before. Grounder's back label. Grounder was behind Scratch when he fell down, but when Scratch gets back up, Grounder moved. How can Grounder sit in a chair? Since when was Sonic an ace? Are these playing cards themed around him? How can these cards wink?
What are you waiting for? Deal!
Scratch can talk without his beak? Sonic must be able to stack cards so fast it is like he didn't even touch them. Scratch does not place his head anywhere near his beak, and yet in the next scene, it is somehow on his face again. Also, the cards are facing upward here, but downward here. Did Scratch's head get smaller?
Oh, you and your big ideas agreeing to play cards!
Me? You were the one who said we couldn't lose with our computer brains.
Actually, it was Grounder who said they couldn't lose with their computer brains, and Scratch who agreed to play, not the other way around.
This is perfect. With our computer brains, we can't possibly lose at cards to that meat-headed hedgehog.
Right! You're on, Sheriff!
Where did the cards go? Miss Possum's kiss is a little off. Ah, good, the saloon sign has been fixed. But it would be good if the doors made up their mind about what color they are. Since the saloon's first scene, more buildings have appeared next to it. Also, what happened to the mat in the doorway? The sound effect that plays for Scratch and Grounder appearing from the side of the building plays a little too early. Oh, what fantastic disguises! Surely nobody will know it's you. Also, how come the inside of the wagon is blank? I know it gets a proper inside detail later, but still. And you had robot horses this whole time? Why didn't you use them before instead of have Grounder be the horse when you first arrived? How does Scratch's mask have a movable mouth?
Sheriff Sonic's waiting in the stage for you. Wants to take you to the lake for a picnic.
Why, that sweet little ball of fuzz knows just how to melt a girl's heart.
Miss Possum gets into a wagon with someone she doesn't even know. Tails learned that it is not safe to get into a car with strangers back in Robotnik Express. How does Miss Possum not know that? What is this bar with white dots doing here? Hey, Scratch's pants have no back. I wonder how that happened. Grounder's arms are in a funny shape. There is clearly a seat next to Scratch and Grounder here, but in this scene, it is nowhere to be seen. The curtains at the back of the coach are in a lighter shade of red than the curtains on the side. So are these curtains. This works. I'm pretty sure it isn't polite to pull on a lady's bow. Why not just pull her up by her hand? There are multiple things wrong with this scene. First, how did it stay in the air for the right amount of time? Second, if the coach is moving down the river, how did it fall perfectly back into the hole? And third, wouldn't it go further into the coach and not stay in place? Where did that guitar come from? Any reason this scene is within a circle in front of a black screen? I don't recall anybody looking into a telescope this episode. Where did this ore come from? This ore should not be strong enough to flatten Grounder completely. Grounder's vest vanishes, and he's not dead. Grounder got unflat pretty fast. What happened to the guitar?
Nothing I like better than shooting the rapids with a beautiful babe. Hang on!
Oh wait, that was a lever? I thought it was an oar. Well, no matter, it wasn't there before either way. Where did the parachute ropes go? You didn't even hit the rock for the impact to happen. I'm pretty sure that if robots were going to fall apart from hitting a rock, they would have come apart right away after hitting the rock. The parachute ropes have returned, but now they are thicker. Since when did Scratch have a telescope in his eye? And yeah, I know I said that no character used a telescope in this episode, and this shows Scratch with one, but it couldn't have been Scratch who used the telescope in the earlier scene, because he was within the telescope user's point of view. Also, there is a correction I should make. The lever actually was there from the beginning, but it did disappear, so I'm going to add 1 point for every time we should see the lever, but don't. This point counts for the first time. Also, the left curtain changes from brown to red. Also, the back window looks too small in this scene, and the curtains are gone. And the back window is too small in this scene, the curtains are missing again, and the right window is gone. And 2 more for this scene.
Hang tight! Here we go! Whoa!
He went over! We did it!
But he survived. Why should you be happy about that? Also, how did you get put back together?
Scratch!
Not now, you'll spoil my triumph!
But Scratch, we're heading for the falls too!
You'll be okay. Scratch and Grounder were apart from one another when falling over the waterfall, but in this scene, Grounder is now on Scratch's back. Where did the ore come from? Do they really think they can row up a waterfall? Where did you get that fishing net from? Wasn't the lock on the other side of the coach? That was lucky you got the guitar back too. The ground here goes from dark to light. Didn't the statue have a window on its tummy? The coyote walked into Robotnik's fortress without knocking or ringing the doorbell. You don't actually get thinner when you blow air into a balloon. Egg yolk doesn't come out of people's heads. Balloons will not float if you just blow air into them. To get them to float, you need helium. Setting a bad example. How are Robotnik's mustache and expressions going through the mask? The animation where Robotnik walks in front of the table doesn't look right, but it is hard to explain exactly why. The mirror has no background. Robotnik is facing the mirror in his reflection, but then we see him facing away from it. He couldn't have turned around that fast. You can't break through the floor like this. The table or mirror moved. You can't move the floor around like this by going underneath it. If the floor was this flexible before, Robotnik should have been wobbling before. Also, Robotnik can't be in all of these places at the same time. What caused this explosion? We see Scratch and Grounder in separate cells here, but in this scene, they're in the same cell. For the other scenes in the cell, we only see one door. Plus, it would be ridiculous for a jail cell to have two doors leading to the same room. Scratch and Grounder peek their heads out of this cell window and they see Robotnik, but a later scene shows that this is the back of the sheriff's office and Robotnik met Sonic and Tails at the front. Grounder somehow can stick his thick head through these tiny bars. The side of Robotnik's head changes to the color of the jacket he is wearing.
Get him!
Robotnik begins to walk and then just stands still. Why does this wanted poster have no picture?
All right, Erp. Let's see how fast you really are.
This tub of water wasn't there before. Sonic uses his buzzsaw at Erp, but only pushes him into the water and not cut him in half. Where did this thing go? I'm pretty sure robots do not explode if they go into water. Also, how come Scratch and Grounder are waterproof and Erp isn't? Isn't this barn the same as this one? What happened to the signs? And now it has a pole sticking out the front. There is no way these bullet holes were lined up perfectly without at least one of them hitting Sonic. Also, one bullet hole hits the ground and another hits his hat. The point is that they're 2 dots off. The barn doors are red now. How is Batch able to fire from his hands? There are no openings for the bullets to come out from. Also, are Batch's bullets washers?
But I can hit you with the broadside of a barn.
The barn doesn't have a shadow until it begins to fall to the side. Also, is the barn tipping over on its own or is Sonic lifting it? He can't be that strong. The owner of this old barn is in for a nasty surprise. Nightmare fuel. Wasn't the front of the sheriff's building facing toward the other buildings before? And how come the sheriff's office is brown at the front but blue in the back?
Grab that rope! Now tie it to the bars!
Right. Okay, ready when you are.
Whoa! You idiot! Not those bars!
You could have been more specific, Scratch. I don't think any horse is strong enough to pull jail bars out. Shooting each other does not turn you into cheese. We see train tracks here, but later the tracks are nowhere to be seen. The KD Corral is behind Sonic here, but it moves in front of him here. Also, the cactuses are gone. And those buildings just appeared.
I'm waiting! Now, where have I heard that line before?
That's worth a point subtraction.
Draw, Hedgehog! Oh!
Seriously, which direction are the train tracks? Even with Robotnik's bottom sticking out, there is no way he, Scratch, and Grounder could all fit into this coffin.
Now that my job is done, I won't be needing these.
But who's gonna be our sheriff?
Best person for the job, Miss Possum.
Since when did Miss Possum prove she was the best person for the job as sheriff? Oh, and Tails' fake robot mom is here too. And some of the buildings have disappeared. This robot was far away from the saloon here, but now he's right outside of it. The colors of the saloon have changed, and the buildings disappeared again.
Ha! You missed me.
It doesn't look like he missed to me,
Nice shooting, Sonic.
but now he has to pay for the saloon.
It's me, Mario!
Any second now, and these bars will be pulled clean off.